Hello, everybody. Happy New Year first. Uh, Today I'm going to talk about China's problems. So the topic is called China's problems. Why China has problems? Or does it have it today? Since when? If it had, long time ago. Well, the case is that China had this problem ever since coming to the modern world, but it has a historical source for that. And in the past, people did not notice it. When I say people, I mean other countries of the world, because China was either weak or they did not play a big role in the world market, in the world forum stage. So not a lot of people realize China is coming up. But nowadays, and China's economy, as it grows, plays a big role in today's world. So China's problems are exposed as it plays itself out in this stage. From the current international affairs and the political stage, we can see many problems. It has conflicts with many other countries, especially in economy, in militarily, in intelligence gathering, spying on other countries rather. So it has many problems we can see in today's world. So the question is, why other countries won't accept China peacefully as they accepted British or the United States in the past when they rose up? Okay, this problem fundamentally due to the China's culture. China has a pretty unique culture versus the rest of the world. So it's because of the peculiarity, I would say, China has problems. You know, any culture inherited, I mean, well-known culture inherited from the past with a long history in this world today. We can say four of them. Christianity, Muslimism, and in India's philosophy, either Buddhism or Hinduism, right? Then the last one is China's culture, mostly with Confucius as its head. Okay, here's the problem. China's problem to me, since I came from that background, is a fourfold problem. Fourfold problem. What are the four parts of this problem? The first one is obvious. It's a political system. The totalitarian regime, as people say it. So it's different, or it contradicts to the other democratic systems. That is very obvious. It inherited from the ancient times, always has a dominance over its people internally. So that's a problem. It's inherited today. Even nowadays, political system is called a communism or a communist party. It's the same thing. It's just like a totalitarian regime with a different name. Of course, that has a problem with the rest of the world. That's the number one problem. The second one, I would say, it's the populace having a problem. The populace problem is that it's less educated and knowing too little about the science as the rest of the world, knowing or informed about this knowledge. And China has a tradition, we know, and has a long past. Culturally, it's against anything foreign that it is. So no matter how advanced it is or how civilized it doesn't matter. They have a sort of a bigotry against anything foreign. That's in the first place. Secondly, is that it's a bad or poor, I would say, the education system. And China does not want to invest a lot into their education system, educating young people, or China likes the kind of modern countries' political or educational system rather to train or to educate its youth or everybody else. That's a problem. So the populace remains sort of a semi-salvaged, not poorly educated. They know really very little about the modern world, and they especially in major political system or the economy or any theory or any humanitarian fields. They know very little. They only know what they need to do to make a living. Basically, they are busy all day around among their lives to have to make more money or how to survive. That's basically what they do. For some of the Chinese nowadays, richer than before, rich. They can have a better life. They still don't know how to deal with the other important part of a civilized world, like loving science or arts or any ideological aspects or related to the souls, as Socrates once commented, people are taking very little care of their souls, and they only work for food, and that sort of thing. They know very little. So the third one, I believe, it's their intellectuals. In this part, the intellectuals, because of the system inherited from the past, have a little understanding or no fundamental knowledge of the rest of the world either. So comparing to their counterparts in other countries, especially the Western ones, they are far, far behind. You can see there in many ways, either technologically or in liberal fields and not civilized. They need a lot of things to catch up with their counterparts. Maybe technologically, they are quite capable of doing many things. And let's say put a little probe on the moon and things like that, or make some weapons, and they are good with it. And a lot of engineers you can see, but in terms of civilized liberal fields, human social fields, they are far, far behind in education. They don't even have the logic training in their schools. So very few people know that. When you argue with them, when you try to reason with them, you feel tremendous difficulty. We can see from many aspects. Even in the overseas Chinese community, you can see that because they are a sample of the majority in the mainland China. That is very obvious too. The last one I would say is their culture. China's culture, claiming 5,000 years long, and this culture has a lot of problems. To my mind, I believe I'm rightly say so that it has twisted humanity. If you dig deeper into this field, it's basically the essence of this culture is just obedience to authority, to all the things, to anything that is make the society make the society in sort of order that is in favor of the dominant person or emperor or the ruler. That is the idea. So this society does not advance, does not making progress. It will stay like that all the time. That's why in Chinese history there are so many dynasties, but nothing changed. Eventually, everything's the same. You become emperor today. Next time it's my turn, and whenever we come to that one, we do whatever we want until the last day, and overthrown by another one. So it's repeating the dynasties all the time, and in the many times in the past already. So that is the case. They don't have the concept of the once and no science. There is some technology or skills accidentally discovered, but not much. And also, it's not even those skills are not regarded highly in the society. They just think that to be a bureaucrat, to control other people's lives, is more honorable for the intellectuals or for anybody who can advance in this ladder, climbing to the top of the society. That's basically the case. So today is still the same. This culture has Confucius at its core, with some other parts of as schools of teaching or doctrine, or some way of expressing their opinions. But other parts are not major. The major one is the Confucius idea, which has its obedience at its core. So that's why. Think about this way. You can see the Chinese has so little invention in today's world. And look around yourself, so many new things, right? From internet to cars to airplanes to electricity, nothing, absolutely nothing for such a majority of people to contribute. You cannot see any of their names in the book, in their educational system, and nobody ever mentioned here. It's entirely by the European people. So basically, the modernization are created by the European people, and nothing. It has nothing to do with the Chinese. And although they have a pretty big percentage of the populace today, that's because of their culture. So they don't have the creative activity, and they all their lives thinking of following the order or law made by the uh, totalitarian regime. That's a problem. It's not legally chosen, it's law-bending as in the Western countries. No, it has nothing to do with that. When Chinese talk about the law, by the way, which is drastically different. in meaning to the Western ones. Because according to the Chinese, laws are only for those people who are inferior to me. So for the emperor, for anybody who made the law, there is no requirement for them to follow it. It's law for the inferiors. That's a concept in China. So in other words, the law represents the ruler, the dominant party's ideas, not for the entire society. So it's not law at all. It's just sort of like rules, or maybe if you say policies, it's a better term. It's sort of seeing the good part of it. It's not actually true in that sense. It's not a law at all. So with those four parts, and China has a problem to the world, on the world stage nowadays. And when it made itself showing a lot more than in the past, you can see the inside of China. Then you see the problem, because the Chinese wanted what they did internally to let the rest of the world follow their example. That's obviously not possible. Let's say in their constitution, they said many good things. We have a liberty for speech, for publication, for social gathering, many other things. And if you look at their constitution, it's as good as the United Nations. But actually, they didn't give you that. In their culture, there's called the yin and the yang. There's two sides. That's the core of their thoughts, or people call it a so-called philosophy. So they deal with everything two ways. Double talk. That's a way to deal with it. So when they come to the world stage, they only also use this trick called a double talk. And of course, it's not accepted by the rest of the world. So China get a lot of problems. That's a problem and for them. So if you understand the cultural part for this, if you understand their background, and it's no wonder China behaves the way it does today in this today's world. So no, without fundamental change, I would say it can never ever be different from what they do today. Well, how can you change such a big populace, and how can it change overnight? I don't know, and it will take time. History will move forward, but only stage by stage. Maybe one day we can just change the political system first. Then we come to the next stage, and then next stage, then keep going. Probably that's the way it will go. We'll see. All right. Thank you so much for listening. And this talk, as others, is an encouragement on my part to have to use other language rather than Chinese to discuss different topics, and the topics we're interested in. Not only say hello, good morning in ordinary English learning, and I hope I can have more people to talk in other languages, in English, of course. Hopefully, and some people will join me, and we'll start the topic, the discussion for this part. All right, thank you so much. Have a nice day.